guys, it's week 4 of NFL. We're back. Me and John Golt are here to give you some final thoughts for the week-long slate of NFL. Because if you don't know, things have been going well for me and the big guy John, and so hopefully it is going well for you too. We've asked you some tough questions that have helped you make good decisions with your lineups, and you're having a little bit of success. What are we doing? Well, we're going to be doing a lot. But first of all, let's talk about this big-ass wheel. If you don't know, the big guy finally got to 3,000 followers today on Twitter, which is crazy because I had like 12 a day ago. So there you go. Go give me a follow on Twitter, Degenerate75. And because of that, to celebrate, I'm going to be doing 2 drawings for Millie Maker tickets today, just to thank all you motherfathers that like and retweet my stuff over there. Also, all you got to do is go drop in the comments to also get on this wheel. Tell me right now. Tell me, right? Go down there right now and tell me this. Who's the one guy that's going to be the slate breaker tomorrow? Who's going to break the slate? That's it. Just go put it down there, and then your name will be on this big-ass wheel. We're going to do that at the end. We're not going to do it now, new guy, or you'll leave. I gotta get you hooked, motherfather. So, in case you are a new guy, which has been a lot of you this month, I'm the Degenerate75. I'm a high-limit DFS player. I focus on golf and football, both college and NFL, and I make content every single day. You see this badass schedule up here? Look at this. Me and John do Monday Night Football and Thursday Night Football, the Showdown Hoedown. You're currently watching the Touchdown Hoedown, which is we do our preview on Tuesday. We do our final thoughts here on Saturday. And then, of course, I do golf on Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and I do college football on Friday. Yeah, I'm a busy motherfather. So come check it out if you like the cut of my jib. So without further ado, let me bring in my partner in crime, the man that wins far too much money at NFL DFS. His name's John Gold JD. How you doing, brother?
Good morning. How are you doing?
I mean, I'm pretty pumped. Every week I'm like, I'm not feeling NFL this week, and then I start, diving in there and looking at the numbers, and then I get a play or two, and then I get this idea, and then I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go.
Oh, this is another good GPP week, most definitely.
Yeah, it happens every week where I'm like, I don't know. I don't like this slate. And then by Saturday, I'm just like, fucking, I love this slate. It's the best slate all year. So that's where I'm at. You got any hot takes that we need to start out before we just dive straight into contest selection?
When we go through the slate, there's some game-by-game takes, but overall, this is another macro slate to look at and just kind of see there's only a few games that have high over-unders. And ownership's probably going to get pretty congested in some of those games. So this will be a slate to be thoughtful about the games you play and how you attack the over-owned games.
So if I heard you right, you just said, hey, Degenerate75, play the nastiest stacks you're going to play all year. That's what I heard. Is that what you said? Because that's what I heard.
That is a fairly decent takeaway from that. This is a week for gross stacks, I will say.
Yes, I love a gross stack. Let's go, Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson, I'm here for it. I'm here for all of it. All right, little contest selection for tomorrow, man. I'm telling you, I like the Millionaire Maker. I have if you haven't heard, John, I am doing my New Year's resolution for the all the way through to this time next year. I'm not playing in any contest where more than a third or more of the prize pool goes to first, which excludes me from a lot of Millie Makers. However, the main one this week, the $20, only 25% goes to first. So technically, I can play in this one. Should I play in it? Yes or no?
The fun EV is definitely worth it to me. And you need a pretty big bankroll to play it smartly,
sustainably, right?
Yeah, exactly. This is the highest variance tournament. It probably has the highest expected value because the average Joe that's firing off lineups from his toilet is firing them in this, and so. In terms of value, expected value, this probably has the highest, but the variance is also the highest. So you need a roll to see the long term.
I just find
NFL, we never really get to the long term.
I just find it disgusting. You get 9th place out of 236,000 people, and you get $10,000. That's so gross.
I finished 3rd out of 200 and whatever thousand.
Yeah, but $100,000 ain't gross, bro. $100,000. Okay, that's cool. That's worth it. There's a big difference. You see, it's like after you got to finish top 3 because after that it just falls off quickly, real quick.
Yeah, the 20 minutes or whatever that I spent with 1 milli on the winning screen was quite the letdown.
Here's what I'll tell everybody. We say the same thing every week, so a lot of you are returning viewers, so we're not going to say the same thing. Go check out your single entries. Whatever price level you're at, whether that's the $3, the $5, whatever it is, go check out your 5 max $33 if you're a medium level player. If you're a lower level player, you want to get 20 lineups in there, check out the 20 max $3, the 20 max $1. They have flatter payout structures. You're playing the same lineups as everybody else. $12 single entry, you can't go wrong. If you're kind of a higher end player, you can never go wrong with the $100 single entries, the $150 three maxes. That's your bread and butter spot. That's where you want to be. The $50 single entry, the $75 three maxes, $200 single entries. That's where it's at. There's so much value in just getting in tournaments and paying less rake and being in tournaments that you can have high sustainable finishes 2 or 3 times a year to cover your whole season, and if you're really lucky, maybe win for the season. Then I think that's where it's at. You got anything else you want to add to that, John? Because I don't feel like we need to say the same damn thing every week.
No, yeah, exactly. I think we both had close calls in those tournaments you just highlighted there. Like, I think you had a close call in the $150 free max, and I did in the $100 single entry. But yeah, those are your bread and butter tournaments. I fire off in the 150 maxes too because DJ and I like to build lineups. But actually, so one point I did want to make about contest selection. They fixed the payout structure in the $5 150 max. Before it was like 50K to first and 10K to second. So now they've fixed it to 10% to first. So now it's you can see they fixed that structure.
Wow.
So that's significantly better. It's still not quite fixed to like the 10% of first to 10th, but it's fixed. It's significantly better.
Okay, so 8th place is still 10%. So that's not too bad though. Yeah, no,
it's way better.
Oh man, yeah. If you're 100, I would definitely give my blessing. Not only would I give my blessing, I would encourage you, if you're a mass multi-enter, this is the one you want to get in. This is so much better than it's been before.
Yeah, they fixed it this week. I meant to put that out there this week.
I'm not a 150 max guy at all, but I got to tell you, that's pretty tempting. I might throw some punts in there. I'll probably make 20 lineups like I always do, but I'll probably throw 20 of them in there just in case I hit the nuts.
You know where you can fire 20 Trevor Lawrence lineups?
I mean, sir, this week it's Zach Wilson. It's Zach Wilson. You said gross stacks. Trevor Lawrence is no longer gross. He's just a fucking animal. Hey, we always fucking just shit on FanDuel, but like I gotta tell you, I've been having a lot of success over there. Their pricing is way softer than DraftKings, so it's easier to build lineups that don't make you vomit in your mouth as much. And they actually have some decent contests. Yes, a lot of their payout structures suck, just like DraftKings, but like their $22 and their $100 single entry, like the cover 2, are really good tournaments. Something worth checking out. Do you not play FanDuel at all, John?
I have in years past. This season I am not. Like, I think I have a couple $100 on there, so I think I've like fired off random lineups like the toilet entries that I make fun of. Mm-hmm. But no, I do not like spend time. Like, I spend all week basically focusing on DraftKings slate,
and that's what we're going to be focusing on here, right? But like, I do think it's worth acknowledging that it's overplayed. I've even started playing some PGA golf over there because the one thing I've learned is FanDuel ownership is so crazy. Like, it pools so crazy over there because people go make their DraftKings lineups, then they go over to FanDuel and they want to play the same guys in their pool, right? But the pricing is so much softer that it's so much easier to get those guys in that they just play them in every lineup. Like, Sam Burns was legit like over 50% owned in the big contest over there this week. Sorry, you guys like, who the fuck Sam Burns? We're golf guys.
Well, what you just said was super important too, is they do build their DK lineups and then they look at FanDuel. It's like an afterthought for everyone.
Yep.
So if I were going to play FanDuel, I would do the opposite. I probably wouldn't play DraftKings if I wanted to play FanDuel. Mm-hmm. And I would take FanDuel super seriously. Like, one, their pricing is different. So like, what's a good value and what's not a good value will always be different. But two, their scoring structure is different. It's a half-point PPR. They don't have the bonuses like DraftKings does. And so like your projections should be significantly different over there. And what you're looking for is significantly different. A volume wide receiver has little value on FanDuel, but has tons and tons of value on DraftKings. You need touchdowns on FanDuel.
Because you get more points per reception. You get the 3 bonus points for 100 yards. That adds up a lot more over on DraftKings than it does on FanDuel is the point he's making. They have different scoring systems.
And so you can almost be a FanDuel specialist. Like, if you wanted an edge, I would focus on FanDuel, focus on the contests that are good over there, focus on the plays that are good there, and make that your priority, because I think almost every pro is doing the exact opposite.
Yeah, and running backs are way more viable on FanDuel than they are over on DraftKings. Okay, that's it for contest selection. Hey, if you're not a guy that likes to you're like, I like your content, but I don't like the YouTubes. Well, hey, all this shit, we put it on pod. Go check out the pod. It's the Degenerate 75 right there. Just go look me up. I put all my shows like this on the pod. You can listen to them over there. Hey, new guy, while you're here, go drop a like and a sub. Let's get those subs up. Just blast it through 1,500. So just help the brand keep growing, right? Just go drop a like and a sub. Look at that, 1.52. Let's go. And by the way, you can't help but notice there's no fucking ads on here, right? You're not going pew, 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 turning all those ads and skipping ads. You're just getting to enjoy a video. It's because I'm not a fucking poor. All right. Weather for tomorrow. Are you concerned about you live down in Hurricaneville right now, right? You were without electricity last night, so maybe this weather in these football games is really hitting home for you. What do you think? What are you seeing?
We're still touch and go here, but it looks like for at least the Carolina game on Sunday, it'll be clear here. The hurricane will pass, but it's heading up to the northeast, so it looks like the New York Giants game, the what was the other game?
It's looking. If you look at the screen here, if you look at the screen here, it looks like the Giants at home, the Eagles at home, and the Ravens at home all have pretty questionable weather.
Exactly. Yeah, those were all the rain and wind games that are probably getting the after effects of the hurricane that we had last night.
And the Steelers look like they got some drizzle and stuff too. But that's if you don't know your geography, that ain't because of the hurricane, brother. They're way inland. Okay, so how much are you gonna let this weather affect your decision making on those games?
I'll definitely watch it. The over-unders have started to come down, which is usually the point where it matters for fantasy points. Because if the over-unders aren't impacted, that means Vegas doesn't think the game's going to be impacted. And in my mind, Vegas knows a shitload more than the rest of us do. So if the over-unders have already been started to be impacted, that is somewhat worrisome for me in terms of the fantasy goodness of the games.
Yeah. Well, hell, let's just look at it real quick. I think we were just talking about, we saw what was it? The Baltimore Buffalo lines already fell a full 2.5 points, right? The Philly lines fallen, I think, 3 points, right? The totals for these teams. Those are really big drops in just, when did we look at this? Tuesday? So that was only 5 days ago, and they've already dropped that far. So clearly Vegas, I've heard they know how to turn a profit by knowing their shit. They seem to think that these totals are going to be affected, and you gotta believe that, right?
Exactly.
So that does make you like those games a little bit less than you probably would have before, right?
Which is sort of a bummer because I already sort of wanted to be off of those games because I think those were the games, at least in terms of the Buffalo, Baltimore, and Jacksonville, Philly, that were going to be really popular.
Yep. You don't think some people, I mean, come on, let's be honest. Be real. I would bet that at least 50% of all lineups will factor in 0% the weather. At least 50%. Of people, of all lineups out there, will not consider weather for 1 second. They won't consider it. That's such a nuanced thing at NFL. It doesn't get covered that much. Yes, we live in a little hardo world of DFS pros, and so we know every fucking edge there is to have. But you got to understand how many casuals play NFL, and some people who even think they're good at NFL, who are playing $200 a week, they don't even fucking think to check that stuff.
That's probably all valid.
So, with that said, let's get going. Let's just break it down game by game. Talk about some injuries. Talk about some good pivots plays. If you don't know, the site we're using, new guy, is Run the Sims. It's the best tool-assisted site out there. You get to enter all your own simulations. We'll just be looking at the generic inputs today, but you can go change it to any game. Put all the inputs you want in there, how you think the game's going to play out, the pace, the total, all of that. It'll spit you out simulations and let you know who is going to be the best leverage plays, who are the guys that you should be under leveraged on, all those things. If you're interested in it, go check it out. You get 20% off. You can do the weekly, the monthly, or the yearly. DGen75, DEGEN75 had tons of people sign up. Not one person has told me they didn't like it. Every single one of them's like, thank you for this. You're welcome, you motherfather. Okay, game one. The Jets and Pitt. Let's just start with hot takes. Hot takes. Deontay Johnson at 18% makes me vomit in my mouth. Your turn.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'm really actually interested to see what this Jets offense looks like now that Wilson's going to be back, because they sort of hummed along under Joe Flacco pretty quietly and under the radar. So I'm interested to see what Elijah Moore's target share looks like with Wilson back.
Yep. Because we don't have any history of them playing together. We've seen that he likes to throw the ball to Elijah Moore. We have not seen if he likes to throw the ball to Wilson yet.
And it seemed like Flacco was more, or at least Wilson had the better outings under Flacco, and so it's interesting to see if that swings back to Eli Moore now that Zach Wilson's back. So,
I would definitely go Elijah Moore over Garrett Wilson this week if I wanted to play one of the Jets wide receivers. That's my take. Just because I've already seen a proven track record of Wilson likes to throw the ball to Moore.
And he's cheaper, and he'll probably be less owned, and so that seems all pointing. And
this may be a wrong take, but I just think he has a bigger upside. I think he has more home run ability than Garrett Wilson. I think that you would see Elijah Moore get to 30 points in a game, and I don't think Garrett Wilson would. That's my take. At least with Zach at quarterback, that's my take.
So, were you serious about playing Zach Wilson 6?
I mean, I don't hate it. I don't. And I actually, the one thing that's a little discouraging is now that I see that it's going to be a little rainy and drizzly in Pittsburgh, and I've noticed that this total has dropped a little bit, that makes me cold on it. And the other thing that makes me cold on it is my favorite run back would have been Deontay Johnson, and there ain't a chance in hell I'm playing a chalky Deontay Johnson. Not a chance.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I was all about him Tuesday on our
honest.
preview show, but 18% Deontay Johnson, get the fuck out of here. I'll be interested
So what
to
do
see
you
what
think
yours is.
about a 1% George Pickens at $3,800?
Yeah, that makes more sense. But like, I've kind of, my big thing this year is I've gotten away from taking punt wide receivers and bad offenses this year. Like I've always been a slut to doing that. Like going and taking, the second wide receiver for the Bears or something like that, or taking one of the Giants receivers this week. I basically have followed one rule through the first 3 weeks: don't take shitty punt receivers for bad offenses, and that's worked really well for me so far.
That's fair. So this is just a pass game generally for you?
Yeah, but well, it'll be a rushing game, but I'll pass. I see what you did there. What about, and then the Steelers defense, too expensive. Jets defense, that interests me very much. 2,600 is right there on the cutoff of about how much I like to spend, but I would imagine if, it doesn't appear they're going to be chalky, I could see our boy Mitch Trubisky throwing a pick 6 or 3.
Yeah, especially if it's going to be somewhat rainy. You could even get just like random fluke fumbles and shit like that happening more often. So, yeah, I think that Jets defense is pretty interesting.
Anything with the Jets running backs? Are you warm to Michael Carter or Breece Hall?
No, I don't want any part of that. There's better value at running backs this week.
I mean, this is one of those things. If I were playing 150 lineups, so now that you show me that damn $5 tournament has a better payout structure, I'm considering it, you motherfather. Maybe I do play... Maybe, then maybe I run some Zach Wilson stacks, and then I run it back with a, who was the hell the guy you said? The piece of shit. Pickens, yeah. That's a place I could do it, because then that's going to allow me to go get like 3 8K guys in my lineup just by running that one stack, right? So
yeah, and if Pickens makes a sick catch for a touchdown, you just win.
Yeah, and we've already seen the guy can make some sick catches. But you got to remember, when I say I'm not playing somebody, that's because in my mind, I've really locked in so far. I've been winning, I've won 2 out of 3 weeks, and it's just been playing this 20 to 22 lineups a week, keeping a nice condensed player pool, only 3 primary stacks, about 3 correlated stacks, and then just a handful of one-offs. And it's been working so well. I don't think I'm going to keep winning 2 out of 3 weeks, but I'm going to, I've been doing it for the all season last season, the first 3 weeks this season. It's been a good spot for me. It's been my process, and I'm just wanting to trust that process.
I'm so excited to corrupt you into 150 maxing.
Well, I mean, you're doing a pretty good job. If this cold brew right here was a ranch water, you'd already have me there, brother. Hey, Starbucks.
Damn it. I'll ask you tonight.
Reach out to your boy. We're looking for a sponsorship. Somebody said I cuss too much for sponsors. Fuck that. Okay. Tennessee and the Colts. I feel like
this is another game.
This is a sneaky one. First of all, you did a damn inception on me at the start of the year and got in my head about the importance of dome games. And now I'm seeing all these games that are going to be influenced by weather. Why not just take the perfect conditions of the dome in Indianapolis?
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. This is a game I'm probably out on. I just don't have a lot of faith in either of these offenses.
You're not buying the Jonathan Taylor's due narrative?
I mean... I guess what's he priced down to this week? He's
88,
down to
88. Very affordable. Very affordable.
I mean, that's reasonable. And that I guess is why it looks like his ownership will be a little higher.
Ooh, can I please run it back with Treylon? Can I please run it back with Treylon?
I don't see why not. At 2%, that seems interesting.
It's actually a nice little correlation, and because Treylon at 4,700 is so affordable, he kind of works really well with Taylor in a stack. Like you put those two together, you're not even that far over an average price guy, right?
I like that actually quite a bit.
Oh, now who's doing the selling?
That one on
who's doing the selling now?
But if you're going to do that, what about Derrick Henry? I don't want to play Derrick Henry.
Would you really? I don't love a game script where I put Taylor and Henry in the same lineup, right?
Oh, gosh, no. That's too slow.
Yeah,
and they're too expensive.
And you're eating up all your salary on 2 running backs that would be in a game script that would almost contradict each other, right? Unless Jonathan Taylor's casting lots of passes.
Unless they're trading 80-yard touchdown runs.
Right, which isn't likely. This was my big worry about Jonathan Taylor this year. He's not that much worse than he was last year. He's just not master efficient every game and finding the end zone and getting that one long run every game like he got last year. This is why I would never draft him first at best ball. It's just hard to be that efficient 2 years in a row.
Yeah, and their offense isn't as efficient generally. Like they're not getting as many red zone opportunities. But also, he had a slow start to the season last year and then just turned it on. So I wouldn't write off JT not being the RB1 quite yet.
I will say this: I don't, outside of Pittman and Burks and Taylor. Probably those are the only 3 guys I would say from here. I don't want to get cute and go try to play a pass catcher from lower down in this game. I just don't think there'll be enough volume or efficiency to justify taking a second wide receiver for either of these teams. You either play the usage monster or you play nobody.
Yeah.
And I don't even think Burks is a usage monster. I'm just playing talent with him.
I think talent and salary savings helps you.
Yeah. All right, let's move over. Probably, I'm going to just say it right now, probably my favorite sneaky game for tomorrow because I'm a big fan. I love stacking sneaky games, right? Like games that I think could shoot out that not many people are on. I'm going to assume Houston was not on our bad weather for tomorrow, right? Where's old Houston? Where's the Texans? Right.
That's your neck of the woods. You should know that.
78 and clear tomorrow. Let's go, mother father. So this game, I like a lot of pieces in this game. I feel like Herbert's had a week to get it back together. I also think he's a tough SOB. I think Austin Eckler is finally starting to get that rust knocked off. I think he's right back up into being a top 5 running back. And I just really like some of the pieces that I could stack Herbert with. I'm very comfortable going to Palmer. I'm very comfortable going to Everett. And, of course, I like Mike Williams. And the best part I could say is I feel like Houston actually has some very viable run backs with Cooks and Pierce.
Yeah, I think that's all right. I think Herbert is like a really sneaky quarterback pick this week. I don't think he's going to get a lot of ownership coming off that like pretty bad injury that everyone saw in prime time, but he's not on the injury report anymore. So presumably like he's good to go. I'm sure he's still sore because I don't know what the cartilage repair time is, but I imagine it's more than 12 days or whatever he's had. But I like Herbert quite a bit. And I think this offense, while it's normally pretty spread out with Keenan Allen going down, Guyton going down, neither one's going to play, that I think there's an opportunity you can get a little more condensed offense and you could play like a Herbert, Eckler, Big Mike stack, or you could play like a Herbert, Big Mike, Everett stack.
What about DeAndre Carter as a punt?
Yeah, you could definitely play Carter as a punt. Same with like Palmer. You could play. He's only $1,000 more, Palmer, but he comes with significantly more ownership. I think like any of those are viable options.
Yeah, I like. And if you're thinking, oh, a Herbert stack, I'm not getting there with you. Well, let me ask you this, new guy. Who else did you want to stack? I'm trying to pick 3 stacks, and I got to tell you, I don't love them. All the other ones that seem appealing are going to be chalky as fuck, and that ain't really on brand for me. So that's why I'm really warm to this one because I don't think anybody's going to be on it.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I've already like started running some stuff that I'm hopefully will be done running by the time that we're done recording, but I need to do some stack analysis, but I have a feeling like based on what I was looking at initially, some early runs, this Charger stack is going to be pretty high in my like optimal leverage numbers.
There we go. Me and John Galt JD agreeing. Normally when I agree with somebody, it's a bad sign, but so far when we've agreed this season, it's worked out okay. Mainly it's just Jalen Hurts we keep agreeing on, so it's pretty easy to be right there. Okay.
With his start.
Yeah. When we did our, what was that, Tuesday, when we did the breakdown of the lineups, the slate review, it was just me and him showing off Jalen Hurts lineups for all the monies. Okay. Bears and Giants. I feel like there's a couple guys in this game that are just way more owned than they should be. Why is Saquon... Why do they have his projected ownership coming in so high? $8,000 is a premium price tag, and it's not like he's been a monument of efficiency recently.
All I've heard all week is hype on Saquon, that Saquon's the best running back value. So I believe that ownership. I still haven't done final runs, but I'm guessing it'll be pretty comparable to that. Like I have heard nothing but hype for him on shows this week. So overall, though, I don't love it. That like Chicago wants to play slow. The Giants will definitely run the ball and play slow. They don't have any of their wide receivers, so they're going to have to run the ball. Yeah. So I guess that's some of the love for Saquon.
Isn't there this thing called defensive coordinators in the NFL that get paid, and they have to know that the Giants have the worst wide receiver core of any team since probably like 1982? And like they got to know to just fucking shut down Barkley, right? Like it's not fucking rocket science. Like to me, the fact that the wide receivers are out dramatically decreases my interest in Barkley because like it's going to be so much easier to key on him when you don't have legitimate wide receiver threats out there.
I think that's exactly right. Yeah, I'm not going to play a chalky Saquon.
Like these guys, like I know the Bears aren't good. I know they're not good, but like these guys are professionals and they're defensive coordinators, and I just have to believe that they're not just going to let Barkley just run down their throat all game. They got to know to key on him. He's like the Giants' legit their only weapon right now.
Literally, he's probably going to be RB1 and wide receiver 1.
Yeah, I know. He'll probably lead the team in targets and definitely will lead in rushing attempts.
Yep.
On the other side of that, well, first of all, can you get on any of these Giants receivers?
I don't have interest in this game generally.
Yeah, this is a good one to just fade. Yeah, I agree. What about Khalil Herbert? He's actually a really good running back. He really is a good running back. Question is, what is too much? What's too much ownership? Because it's showing generically they have him at 21%. I think he'll be higher than that though.
Yeah, so the interesting thing is that Williams is 6,100, so they're pretty closely priced in terms of the other value running back on this slate.
Jamal Williams.
In that game. Yeah, exactly. So we'll get to that game in two games. But so I wonder if that will spell ownership kind of between the two, because they're both similarly priced and they're both like pretty good plays this week. But I think if the weather is going to be impacting and there's an 18-point Bears implied team total, like I'm happy to fade a 20% owned running back on a team that's projected to score 18 points.
Exactly right. Like I bet he doesn't even really threaten to be in a GPP winning lineup unless he gets a touchdown and or 6 catches.
Yeah, I mean, or he falls in the box twice or whatever. But like, I'm happy to just lose that week. Same with Williams. I think when we get to that game, I think I'm just happy to lose if those two guys get there.
Yeah, fuck those guys. Wait, all right. So someone says you have to either play Barkley or Herbert. Which one are you playing? You have to play one of them.
Saquon.
Yeah, I'll go the other way.
I think Saquon's ceiling is higher.
No, that one I won't argue with that one, sir. Okay, Saquon. I don't know. You don't think people are scarred from the fact that he screwed him when he was week-long chalk? Was that last week or the week before when he was like the super chalk and he didn't do shit? Was it week 2?
That's great if people are going to be off him because of that.
Well, that's why I'm hoping. Like, I would like to play Saquon if he were just going to be 12%, but I think he's going to start getting probably closer to 20, 25%. And that's like at running back for 8,000. I'll always fade that. Always. I'll just go play Jonathan Taylor and feel really good about it. I'll find the $800 somewhere.
Sorry, I don't mean to keep cutting you off. I saw in the comments. I need to work on that.
Your first hater. Wait, hey, I got hundreds of them. You just only got one. Be happy.
Y'all, I'm new to this content, so feel free to put all your critiques down in the comments. But I think the other guy that's going to be chalky in this game for the Giants is Richie James, since they're pretty limited in wide receivers and he provides salary relief. So I can see Richie James getting like pretty highly owned. And so in GPPs, that's another guy I'm probably just not going to be playing.
18% Richie James has a 0% chance of being in my lineups. I cannot believe I overlooked him. That's so gross. So gross. By the way, Bears defense at 2,700. 2,700 is my rule for the highest I will ever pay for a defense. I'm interested. If I will play some Bears defense because Danny Dimes, he's got a problem with the turnovers.
What are the Giants defense?
They are expensive. 3,100.
Okay.
I mean, that's not expensive, but for my rule, that's too expensive. I don't go above 2,700. Yeah, and you're like, well, are you sure? Because we're good defenses. Fuck that. I'll just go upgrade my running back or wide receiver, you donkey dick. All right, Washington, Dallas. You're gonna have to start selling me on some people because the big guy's cold on this game too.
Oh no, this is a good game. Let me sell you on this game. So I think Cooper Rush has been significantly better than anyone has thought he would be. We get a dome game. Let's go. The Commanders, like, while somewhat disgusting at times, have shown abilities to carry their own on offense while absolutely not being able to carry their own on defense. So I think the Dallas side of the ball is pretty sneaky. And like, I have never ever been a Zeke fan, but his role and usage has been pretty consistently good this season. So to the extent we think the Cowboys can do some work this week, I kind of like Zeke as a running back that's going to be low owned and has like some pretty high upside. He's the same price as Jamal Williams.
So nobody's playing him. No one's going to click Zeke when they could go click Jamal Williams this week.
Yeah, he's going to be like 1/5 the ownership. And if you tell me that Jamal Williams has 5 times the likelihood of hitting his ceiling that Zeke does, like, slide on into my DMs and we'll make some
hails to the yeah.
Because I think like that in GPP is like, that is exactly the type of pivot you should be looking at. Jamal Williams, exact same price as Zeke. They seriously have very similar ceilings. Zeke might even have a higher ceiling, honestly.
Yeah. Let me sell me now. You did a good job. Look at this optimizer rate, right? So optimizer rate, new guy, is basically you take their projected ownership and you look at how often they're going to be in the optimizer, and you want them to show up in the optimizer more than they're going to be owned, right? So like CeeDee Lamb is only showing up 7.5% of the time. He's 15% owned, so he actually has a negative optimizer leverage, right? But a lot of these guys in this game actually have really good optimizer rates, like Gibson is positive. Zeke is positive. Dalton Schultz is positive. Cooper Rush is positive. Noah Brown is positive. So, like, maybe this is a sneaky little game that you could get some, a stack in, or at least a little correlated mini stack as your second part of your lineup, and it wouldn't be the worst.
Yeah, so on the Washington side, I really like. I think we were both
Curtis Samuel. The optimizer loves Curtis Samuel. If you can't see the screen.
His usage has been incredible. Like for he has 3 yards, I believe, is his average depth of target, and like he is just doing work with a 3-yard ADOT, and so I don't know that that's necessarily sustainable. And so I prefer like the kind of the hitters in this one, like a Dotson or McLaurin. I think have like better pass to upside, but McLaurin's still $6,500 despite not producing. So like he will be. Like it says here, 1%. 1% seems like generous. If 1% of the field rosters Terry in like some of the single entry small field stuff that we're playing, like he's just not going to be rostered. So I really like a Zeke Terry mini.
Yeah. We can't agree that CeeDee Lamb at 6,700 is underpriced, right? He's not off to a great start this season, but just based on his talent level, he should be like 7,200, right? 7,400, something like that.
Oh, I stopped my sales pitch early. CD's probably like my favorite wide receiver play on this slate.
Wow. Wow.
I think his volume is insane, and it says 15%. I'm gonna guess CD will be less than that. I'm hoping when I do my runs he'll be around 10%. But I just haven't really heard that much love for him. I think people don't want to play this Dallas offense without Dak. And I think like if this offense is going to succeed, it's going through CD. Zeke, to a smaller extent Pollard, but I'm probably not going to play Pollard at the same price as Zeke. I think the Cowboys want Zeke to be the featured back, even if Pollard is the more talented back.
By the way, we have a Discord. John helps me. He posts all the sims, all the projections, all of his ownership. He does different, and it's really good. And it's all over here on the Discord, which is connected through my Patreon. Come check it out. Give a shout out to all my people. Look at this. We're almost at 300. That's a lot of people. It is quite the community over there. Come check it out if you want to. Let's move on to this next game. Seattle-Detroit. You got to love that 48-point total, right?
Well, so this is one that's come down, and I think this is one that people want to play. But I think this is one I can see a lot of paths to failure in. Now, it doesn't mean I'm not going to play it, but it means I am a lot less excited to play it than I was early in the week.
Mm-hmm. If I was really high on Rashard Penny, right? Like I really wanted him to be the guy. You really think he's going to come in at 9%? He was kind of one of my sneaky plays this week that I thought I could get a really good play at low ownership.
I want to see runs when I do it because it's hard to imagine that he'll get ownership when I think there is so much ownership that will go to the 2 guys we talked about, the Bears, Khalil Herbert and Jamal Williams. So I'll be really interested to see what runs come in. I could see him being in like that 7 to 10 range seems like pretty reasonable, and I think that's still like very viable for a low-priced running back.
4,900 running back really makes the lineup work, right? Especially for an RB1, right? When we've all played a $4,900 running back, but it's almost always the third down back guy, right? That you're hoping gets a lot of pass catches.
And it was week 17 last season that we saw Penny literally win everyone the best ball monies last year. So with his touchdowns against the Lions last year. So so repeat of week 17 last year.
All right, let's talk about Jamal Williams, and then let's talk about the injuries for the Lions. So first of all, look at this. His projected ownership right now is 30%, and he's only showing up in the optimizer 7% of the time. That is one of the worst negative leverage plays I've ever seen on Run the Sims. One of the worst I've ever seen, negative 23%.
And I think 30% is generous if you're talking about the single entry small field stuff. He's going to be grossly owned in those tournaments. I could see him being like 45, 50% in the $100 single entry and stuff like that. So that for me is just like a big no. I just think cash, like fine, play him all you want. I just can't see playing him in a tournament. Like, and you can also see so many paths that this Lions offense just won't be the same. Mm-hmm. We're sitting down their 2 best players in DeAndre Swift and Amon-Ra St. Brown, who have like been unreal performers this season, especially Amon-Ra. He's been a league winner for you so far. And so you can't just assume that offense is going to keep humming along. I don't think it's Jared Goff elevating those players. I would argue it's probably the opposite. So, yeah.
Here's the point I would make. Jamal Williams starting at running back, normally we get guys like this at like 4,800, right? He's 6,100. That's not exactly just like a free square cheap guy, right? Like you're paying money for this guy. He changes what the rest of your lineup looks like just by being a slightly above average salary guy. Normally when we get these backup running backs that become starters, we're getting them at a super discounted price, and that makes it almost irresistible to not put in your lineup because it makes the rest of your lineup so much more appealing. But 6,100, it's not expensive, but it sure as shit ain't cheap.
Yeah, DraftKings is making a concerted effort to price up these backup running backs so that we don't have the Alexander Madison chalk week of last year.
Yep.
And so that's like kudos to DraftKings for doing that, because you really should have a decision right now. Do you want to pay $6,100 for Jamal Williams, or would you rather just pay $4,900 for Rashad Penny? Because I'm not sure that they're that different of plays.
Amen. All right, so it would seem to me that a Jared Goff stack would be very appropriate in this game because it would be so cheap. You've got Hawkinson, Shark, Reynolds, all these cheap options to stack with him, and it will completely free up the rest of your lineup to go put studs everywhere, right? But how concerned would you be that whenever you're missing your two best players on offense, that Jared Goff is a bit of smoke and mirrors so far this year, and he really ain't going to be that great without his two best players around him?
That's my concern with this whole offense. And so I think I'm just picking skinny pieces of this. I still am debating if Gino is going to be one of my quarterbacks this week, which is super gross. But his price tag makes a lot work. And so if you do Seattle stacks with then bringbacks on the Detroit side, I think that's pretty interesting. I'm worried about Hawk getting a lot of steam in that tight end position, with the thought being that Detroit's down so many pass catchers that Jared Goff will rely on like familiarity.
Yep.
And so I'm worried that Hawk will get a lot of steam. So that may be someone that I just don't.
They're already showing him. They're already showing him at 14%, and I bet it's even higher than that, especially in single entries.
Yeah, his price tag's pretty affordable. The tight end position isn't great past Andrews in terms of like true ceiling, and so yeah, I can see that steam getting there.
So if I'm going to take any part of the Lions, you know what? I just don't think I'm going to play any of them. If I were going to play one, I would look at one of their receivers who might get higher usage and bigger target share. But like, I don't trust Josh Reynolds and DJ Chark. Like, they can't get it done when they're the second guy out on the field with an alpha and Amon-Ra out there. I don't think they can get it done as the primary.
Yeah, an interesting one to me is Khalif Raymond that is probably going to move into the slot. He's 3,100. So that's pretty interesting. If he is going to get the bulk of the Amon-Ra work, because that's normally where Amon-Ra works and where Jared Goff likes to target. So I think Khalif Raymond's like actually a pretty sneaky play if his ownership's going to stay low. I actually don't mind him as a GPP dart.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because 3,100, like if you can just get one guy in that spot, like for me, who was it last week? I had Hollins and Dobbs everywhere, right? Like I kept mixing and matching. Almost every lineup had one of those two guys in it. And when you just get that one guy in there, the really tight pricing all of a sudden feels much more manageable when you can just get one punt in there that you don't hate.
Oh, and when you can get 32 points from him with pants off time.
Hey, I was dancing in the streets naked. All right, let's move on. This was a game that was probably my favorite when I first looked on Tuesday. Just has everybody I love in it. Two guys that have been getting me there a lot this season, Jacksonville and Hurts. But we're getting pretty worried about this weather, right?
This weather and, like, I think upon further look, these are teams that both actually have really solid defenses as well. And so to the extent, like, you think defenses can kind of slow down these offenses, I think this is probably another game that, like, there's some definite value in fading, both from a weather perspective. I think, like, ownership, people want to play this game. People have seen Jalen Hurts just get there.
Jalen Hurts is getting priced up, though. DraftKings is on to him. 8,200. When I start to see $8,000 quarterbacks, I think to myself, I better get 35 points out of this motherfather. Because it's when you are spending that much money on a quarterback, it really changes what the rest of your lineup looks like.
Absolutely.
It's so much better when you're starting with a $6,100 quarterback. It just frees up so much more for the rest of your lineup. When you start with Jalen Hurts and you want to stack him with A.J. Brown or something like that, I mean, that is so much of your money already gone. Or if you want to run it back with Christian Kirk, that is so much of your money already gone. I don't know. I like my stacks to be a little bit cheaper and go play my little mini correlations more priced up or my one-offs priced up. That would be my biggest concern with Hurts is he's starting to get pretty pricey and this total just keeps coming down and coming down, coming down. And can't we see this game being a bit of a slog with a couple decent defenses in the rain and the wind? I mean, isn't that a real narrative? And that would limit the upside of a lot of these guys?
Absolutely. That was exactly the thought the point I was probably poorly trying to make.
It's okay. I do it well. I articulate. So if you were going to play some pieces in this game, who would be the ones you would want to play?
I think James Robinson has shown people that he is like superhuman in terms of returning from that ACL injury and like looking like he never missed a step. So I like James Robinson quite a bit at super low ownership. It's worrisome to play him into this Philadelphia front line that's like been smothering and truly elite. But if I was going to play a piece, I think that's a pretty interesting piece that you'll get at low ownership.
To defend your choice real quick before you jump to the other side, one of the highest leverage players in this slate, right? 2% ownership, shows up in the optimizer almost 6% of the time.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. All right. And then who's the other guy from Philly? Who would you take from over there?
I think Goddard's a pretty interesting pivot off Hawkinson. If Hawkinson's going to be 3 times the ownership of Goddard at $400, Goddard's $400 more expensive, but I think Goddard's like a guy that can easily fall in the end zone twice.
Yep.
Especially if we're talking about a game that's like fought in the trenches up front. Like, why aren't we thinking there's going to be more dump offs that Jalen's like elusive enough to move around in the pocket and find his tight end frequently?
Now, we both cashed in big on Devontae last week. Are you going back there? Any chance?
He's a home run hitter. What's he priced up this week? He's still 50.
50,
yeah,
it's a big jump, but it's still very reasonable. I just don't want it because look at that ownership. People are going to remember what he did last week, and people somehow fucking always think that like what happened the week before is correlated to what's going to happen this week, and that ain't the case, brother.
Yeah, and like I said, this is a game I'm probably just off generally, and if I do play pieces, it will be just one-off stacks.
Yeah. Which I hate to say because these are two of my favorite teams to stack, but I if it's just feeling like there's going to be some ownership in this, and the guys are all fairly priced in my opinion. Kirk is getting very fairly priced. Like if I can have Kirk or CeeDee Lamb, I'm going to take CeeDee Lamb over Kirk, and I love Chris Kirk or Christian Kirk. Chris Kirk, see, fucking got golf on the mind, Chris Kirk. All right, we're moving on. Buffalo and Baltimore, definitely the highest total on the slate by far. Probably that has the two of the 3 most efficient quarterbacks in the NFL to start the season. Do we possibly have the nuts to fade this game?
I do. My GPP nuts are strong.
All right.
This is a game that I think like everyone wants to play, probably somewhat rightfully so. I think if I'm playing any side of it, it would be the Buffalo side. I would be Buffalo stacks with Baltimore bringbacks. I don't think I want to play teams against this Buffalo defense that's somewhat banged up and getting healthier. And Josh Allen's just looked next level. So I'm not super scared of Baltimore's defense. So I'd play the Buffalo side of the ball. I'm probably not going to play the Baltimore side of the ball.
Is it looking like Gabe Davis and Dawson Knox are going to be in?
Gabe Davis probably not. It looks like he re-aggravated his injury, which is never like he practiced and then didn't practice, which is never what you want to see. He practiced Wednesday, didn't practice Thursday. I don't know if he practiced Friday. I don't think he did. So that's like pretty concerning pattern. So I would guess Gabe Davis probably doesn't go. Dawson Knox sounds like he will go.
So if you're running Josh Allen, if you're going to do Josh Allen and have several stacks, who are some guys you're mixing and matching your stacks with Josh Allen?
I think you have to stack him with Diggs. I think if you're paying that price tag, you are assuming like he continues to roll, and if he's going to continue to roll, like I don't see how Diggs doesn't get there. Like Diggs' floor is like 15 points. It's insane.
Isaiah McKenzie, you warm on him?
Yeah, I think any of the other options, like because I would want to double stack Allen because he is expensive. So I think Knox or McKenzie are both fine. Crowder burned me, but I'd play Crowder again.
Who would be your?
But I also think Singletary is pretty interesting.
Would you run? You matching him with Singletary? You said.
Yeah, I think that's pretty interesting too.
Who would be your run back? Because if you say Andrews, at some point you're going to run out of money, brother.
Yeah, then that's exactly your problem. So I think you almost have to go like a Bateman or a Duvernay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Bateman or Duvernay. I think you could go Dobbins, but I don't know if I want to play a running back against this Baltimore or Buffalo Bills front. I think they're just really sick.
Don't you?
So I think it would probably be Duvernay. But Andrews, if you can afford it.
How many lineups do you think are going to start with an Allen stack? So you're going to have like Allen, Diggs, and then the running backs are going to be Jamal Williams and like Khalil Herbert. And then like they're just, I mean, like, is that really a start you want to have where you already have the same 4 pieces as probably 5,000 other lineups in the same GPP?
No way, because then they're also going to put in Richie James, the value wide receiver. They'll also put in probably Raymond or Reynolds. Reynolds or whatever the other value piece wide receivers are. No, because then you're just getting funneled into the exact construction.
Right, and you don't want to be playing 5,000 people in 3v3s, right? Like, who had the better defense today? You want to be playing 9v9s versus people or 8v8s. And by the way, if you don't know what that means, every time you're matching somebody that has the same player as you, like, that player is canceled. You don't have an advantage on that other person, right? So you want to have your lineup be different in as many spots as possible so you have more ways of beating them, and simply let's have all the exact same players and just have a different defense and a different tight end, because now you're 2v2 and you don't want to be playing 5,000 lineups 2v2. That's just not that. You have no leverage. Basically, at that point, it's just a scratch-off lottery, and that's assuming all the other pieces have hit.
Yeah, the only points that you score that matter are points you score someone else doesn't, really, at the end of the day, in terms of like winning a GPP. And so,
Mckenzie Hughes at golf. Let's go, Mckenzie. 9 under yesterday at 1% ownership. Who was on that motherfucker? This guy. Okay.
Do you have some good live golf lineups going?
Yeah, I was sitting top 10 all day yesterday. I have a really nice 6 of 6 that has everybody in the top 25. So we're live. We're live. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. Probably you've warmed me up to this one. I think this is going to be my second stack game, which is crazy. When you see Atlanta and Cleveland, instantly you should just think no. But and that's what I did think. But now I'm thinking, okay. It's kind of like I've had a couple drinks and they're starting to look a little bit more appealing.
Yeah, I think you can stack both sides of this game, and I actually kind of like stacking both sides of this game. We saw Jacoby Brissett be extremely efficient the other night on Thursday Night Football. So yeah, I don't mind stacking Brissett, and I think Mariota is like warming up to be a somewhat popular play, but on a slate pretty devoid of running back value, quarterback value, a quarterback that offers running upside while still being able to sling a little bit. Like, I think he's pretty interesting.
And all the pieces, and he doesn't have expensive pieces to stack him with, right? Like Pitts and London, the two most reasonable ones to stack him with, or even Cordell Patterson. All of them are very reasonable price tags, right? So, like, it allows you to go get a stud correlation from another game if you want to go get Eckler, or you want to go get Derrick Henry or whoever, right?
Yeah, and the bring back pieces are pretty reasonable. Like, Amari's not extremely expensive. He's 63, which isn't like cheap, but like that's pretty reasonable, and that's probably my favorite run back piece.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can play Chubb too, or Kareem. Like, those are both pretty viable bring backs on the other side.
If you want to punt bring back, check out old Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Yeah, his volume's been somewhat actually encouraging, but I prefer Amari. He's looked like just true stud Amari.
So you'd be okay running a Jacoby Brissett stack out there. Just hope that this game kind of picks up pace and they don't just run it every play, and he's passing a lot, maybe gets 38 passes and throws 2 or 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I think you have to play. I mean, obviously, then you have to play a run back because you need a game to get pushed. Right. But yeah, I like a Brissett and Njoku Cooper stack. That's like, yeah.
Oh yeah, Njoku. That's a good one I hadn't even thought of. I do like Njoku. Seems to be having a year. He seems to be having a year. So. This is one I just kind of like all the different pieces here. More than anything, I like that it will probably be, I'm not going to say low owned, but it will definitely not be higher owned than a couple of the other games. And so let me get some access to that game and open up some cap to go get some studs that maybe other people don't want to play. Maybe this is how I go get on Terry McLaurin, right? Is I have the extra money to go punt with Terry McLaurin.
And this is the second highest over-under on the slate. Like, besides that Buffalo game, this is the highest game.
It's third. It's just behind Seattle.
Oh, I missed that one. 48. Sneaky. Yep. Math's hard.
Yeah, it is. It's a tough game. All right. Hey, I know you love to talk about this. I noticed there's only 3 afternoon games tomorrow. You want to touch on how that's going to affect your strategy at all?
Yeah, there's actually one that's pretty decent. I think that last one, Denver-Vegas, is pretty interesting for pivoting to. But again, like, you should be thinking about this because you will be pretty limited in your options for late swapping. So when you build your lineups, and I guess one thing I'm not sure if we've ever explicitly said on here, but when you build your lineups, your guys in the 4 o'clock game should always be your flex players. You should never have a 1 o'clock player in your flex if you can flip it with a player in the same position at 4 o'clock.
Yes.
Because then you have the flexibility to change them with a running back, tight end, whatever, not just being locked into that single position, which is just an extra level of
because when you're only choosing from 3 games and you have a running back spot available and it could have been a flex, well, now you got to put a running back in for that running back you want to sub out to gain leverage. Whereas if it were in the flex, you could go toss a tight end in there, a wide receiver in there, or a running back in there. So it literally like triples your options by putting your afternoon guys in the flex.
Yeah, so that should be like your initial level of thinking. But then in terms of like how that affects your roster construction, there are some games here in the afternoon slate that you should be thinking about. I don't think we have to worry about chalk necessarily in the afternoon games, because that's one thing you will typically think about. If there's chalk afternoon games, you want to be hoping that your early slate smashes if you're playing, and vice versa. But I don't think you have to worry about that here. But there are some opportunities to get unique, I think, in this late slate. So
right. Just looking at this game real quick, I see Matt Collins at 15%. Man, that's some chalk I'm not going to chase. He's not going to. Yeah, no thank you. Which is funny because I actually do like this. I think this will be the third game that I'm going to stack. Can I just sell you on a narrative? Russell Wilson's back. There you go. That's it. He finally doesn't play like an asshole. I've always known Russell Wilson as a guy that has 3 to 4 monster GPP games a year. Maybe this is the week he finds it. And then I feel like the Raiders have some really appealing run backs. Like, I'm very happy with a lot of their run backs, not named Hollins.
Yeah, Hollins at 15% is gross. The chase is exactly the word that is happening there. They're chasing that 32-point ceiling performance.
I saw a really great tweet about Jerry Jeudy had like 100 yards week 1, got banged up week 2, and then something happened week 3, and now everybody hates him. And that's a really good point. Like, the 1 week that he was healthy and played a full game, he had a really good game. Like, if I can get Jerry Jeudy at 5% at 5,500, is that not stealing?
I think that a lot of these 1A, 1B situations where we see the B just get disfavored over like a few short week sample, they come in lower priced and lower owned. Yep. Like we saw the Waddle smash spot. Like a few of these other ones this season, I can't think of the other one, but there's been a few of these where the 1Bs have just been disrespected, underpriced, underowned, and then they've just come out and smashed. So I think that's pretty sharp.
All right. Let's talk about these last two games real quick. New England and Green Bay.
So time out. We're just going to disrespect my Arizona.
We're coming back. You made me skip to the end, so now I'm working back inside. Don't question the hosts' methods. All right, go on. What do you like about this game?
I actually think the running back, especially A.J. Dillon, is pretty interesting in this game against the New England. New England, I'm not sure they can keep their side of the ball going now that they've lost Mac Jones for the next several weeks. I think Ramondre is at least interesting on that side of the ball. But otherwise, I'm not sure I'm super interested in the New England side. I think you could play Dobbs. What's Dobbs' ownership going to be?
They got 7 on here.
Yeah, that's not terrible. I think who is coming back this week, though, on the
is it freaking Watson? Is that who it is?
Yeah, Christian Watson was coming back for Green Bay, so I don't know if that'll cut into Dobbs's run, but he also maybe he's just earned a spot in that offense. So 4,500 is pretty appealing for someone that should have a role in that offense. I was like, oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, it doesn't seem like Green Bay wants to run it up on people this year, though, right? So I feel like if Dobbs doesn't get his points in the first half, I feel like they're going to be 10 to 14 ahead, and they're just going to run A.J. Dillon down their throat the rest of the game. Yeah, and that was exactly what I was thinking there, because originally in the week I was thinking Aaron Rodgers was a pretty interesting stack. But I think if he had 3 touchdowns in the first half, I think that's probably a ceiling performance. And then, like you said, they grind it out. There's no chance he gets number 4 or 5 in the second half to win you a GPP. That's just my opinion. Maybe New England comes out and is magic. Who's their quarterback? I don't even know. They are going to have Brian Hoyer be their quarterback. Oh my God. Get the fuck out of here. All right, skipping to the last game. Kyler, my second favorite player in the NFL, versus Baker, my favorite player in the NFL. You got any hot takes on this game? Yeah, I really wanted Christian McCaffrey to be healthy because I thought this was a pretty sneaky spot where he could smash. But it sounds like he is still pretty banged up with that thigh injury that he suffered. It sounds like he suffered in practice. I don't know. But it sounds like he's going to be limited in some fashion. So that's worrisome that he won't get a full workload. And he also already just hasn't been great in this offense. I mean, he's got an elite role, but the offense itself hasn't been great in terms of pace and efficiency. So I'm as much as I want to like this game, I just don't. I think Zach Ertz is pretty interesting. His usage has been great, and the Panthers are pretty bad against tight ends. So I think Zach Ertz on the other side is pretty interesting. I also wanted to like James Conner in this game. I really wanted to like some of the Christian McCaffrey and then pass catchers on the other side, or James Conner and then pass catchers on the other side. But as the week's gone on, this game just looks like it's going to be gross again. Yeah, I feel like both these teams have broken offenses, and if I feel like you have broken offenses and a low total, I'm out. And that hurts me to say because I love these guys so much.
Yep.
All right. Hey, we're going to do a drawing. Here it goes. If you want to be in this, go drop a comment. Who's going to break the slate tomorrow? Or go like and retweet, and I'll get you on there again. You can get on there twice. Hey, Anderson Matthew, shoot me a DM. Or if you're on the Discord, reach out to me over there. We're making a Millie Maker ticket tonight. Me, you, and John. Because I got 3,000 followers on Twitter, I'm doing 2 Millie Maker tickets tonight because the big guy is happy. John with I know that guy. Yeah, John, shoot me a DM tonight. Let's make a Millie Maker ticket, and then one for the Patreon, a Millie Maker ticket for all my mother fathers over in the Discord, which is run through the Patreon. Come check it out. Sheer Hunt, sheerly a badass. All right, guys, that's it, man. If you want to come check it out, don't forget, me and John post all of our sims, our projections, our ownership over on the Discord. You see all those notifications? That's mother father signing up because people want to be a part of our badass community. It's very cool over there. Only one asshole. It's me. All right, that's it, man. Come check out all the shit I do. I appreciate you guys being here. I hope you kick some ass tomorrow, but more importantly, I hope you enjoy my outro, you mother father.